Data Science and Machine Learning for Bioinformatics with R. Without wasting too much of time, let me introduce today's instructor, Dr. Salman Sadullah Usmani, who is currently working as a research fellow at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, New York, United States. Dr. Usmani earned his master's degree from Aligarh Muslim University, India, and then moved to CSIR Institute of Microbial Technology, Chandigarh, for a doctoral degree. During his doctoral studies, Dr. Usmani developed a large number of bioinformatics courses and databases. His area of research include machine learning, database management, next generation sequencing, and immunoinformatics. He has an outstanding track record of scientific publication and is a well-known peer reviewer. You can know more about Dr. Salman Sadullah Usmani by just clicking his Google Scholar profile, which I have already shared in the WhatsApp group. So without wasting too much of time, I welcome all the participants on behalf of Decode Live, as well as I am handing over session to Honorable Dr. Salman Sadullah Usmani. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Praveen sir. Thanks for this signed introduction. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Praveen sir, am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Salman.
Okay, that's great. So without wasting time, let me share my presentation to all of you, and it should be visible to everyone. So before starting, I should just remind you some points that today's session is a kind of introductory session where I will talk about what this organization is all about and what is the pre-requirement for having the Linux into your system. These two things I will talk today, and then most probably tomorrow I will talk about Linux commands, and you will have tomorrow's session will have a more on demo kind of session, but today you will have just an introductory session. And it's a humble request that because in the last session I have allowed to interrupt within the session, so there were so many complaints that only the few participants hijacked the session and they were continuously interacting with me, but rest of them were just sitting as an audience. So it's my humble request that please don't interfere within the session. If you have any query, just raise your hand. I'll try to take within the session or after the session. How much time will be given to all of you where you can ask the query. And beside that, I always share my WhatsApp as well as email ID. If you have any query, if you have any issues, you can write to me, and I'll surely reach to you. So as you know that this workshop is a 1-month workshop for data science and machine learning, where you will explore the programming language R, and you will learn how to do apply machine learning techniques, how to implement regression models, classification models, decision tree, etc. within the R language. So today's session is just the preface and the introduction to the Linux environment. Okay. So as I said that this is as I said that this is an enterprise which there is someone has unmuted his mic, so please.
I am muted Dr. Salman. And before starting sessions, sir, I will request all the participants, please do not flood the chat box with unnecessary messages, because we will share the chat box in the drive link, and this chat box will be used for important commands as well as important scripts. So we will share the chat box with you. Please don't flood it with welcome messages, hello messages, and irrelevant chat. Thanks. You can continue, sir.
Okay. So as we know that this is a Decode Life is a enterprise, or you could say it's a startup which is running by few very enthusiastic researchers, and our aim is to provide adequate training, and it's a platform where you will get a training in the bioinformatics with very affordable price, and sometimes it's totally free. And this will actually fill the knowledge gaps. This is the aim when we were starting it. And beside this, we also believe in grow together policy. And this platform actually provides a network where you can communicate with other guys, and you could ask for the collaboration or the research help or other things. So in the past, in our previous conferences, several collaborations have been made within using our platforms. So some guys have been hired for some projects and other things. So it's a platform which fill all these gaps. This is our aim, and thanks to Almighty, it is actually successfully running with whatever aim we have till now, and hope to achieve much more in the future. This is just a brief history of our enterprise. We have founded it into June 2020, and it has been registered with MSME, that is micro, mini scale and micro enterprises, under the Government of India banner. We believe in the diversity. So this platform provides bioinformatics training from very basic, from the first day to the advanced level of bioinformatics. We try to cover each and every topic in different workshops. We have more than 10 expertise, and they are well-known expert in their field, in their domain. We try to present the lectures, or we try to organize the lectures with those guys who have worked at least in that particular field for 2 to 3 years. So all our lecturers, or all of the instructors, are very much expert into their field. Till now we have organized 15 workshops. This is our 16th workshop, and we have, we obviously sometimes we run paid workshops, and sometimes we also give the free training. So till now, more than 3,500 participants have been engaged in the paid workshop, whereas more than 7,000 received the free training. And we have a global outreach, and till now we have participants from more than 60 countries, or from all over the world. And we are very much affordable. We provide the content with less than 1 hour. Like in this conference, we charge most probably 1,200 or something, and it's a 1 month workshop. You will have 20 sessions, and each session will last from 60 to 90 minutes. Even there will be some extended session as well. And we are the firm believers in the open source, and therefore all the slides whatsoever will be presented here, it will be provided to you. Beside this, you will get the recording of these sessions, and the chat box also, as said by Praveen sir, that whatever command or instructions will be given in the chat box, that will also be shared to you. So basically, I just want to show that everything is open source. You will get each and every material, whatever will be shared here. This is just a page to show you our social media reach. And this is the link of our website, that is decodelive.co.in, and it is getting 10 to 20,000 hit per month. We are very less active on the Twitter, so have less followers onto that, but we are much more active on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. We have around 6,000 reach in the LinkedIn, and beside this, we also used to have WhatsApp groups where people used to communicate, and they can also put their queries there. So we have a good reach within the last year. Beside this, we have also extended our initiative, and from the last 2 months, or from this one, we are also providing some services where you could write to us, and within the different domains, and we will try to provide you the adequate solution. And if it's a small problem, definitely we will try to give you free of cost. You will be guided to whatsoever you have to do. But if you want to collaborate, or if you want to outsource of your problem, we also provide that thing. We also provide the services for the outsourcing, where you could write us for drug discovery. If you are working in the field of drug discovery and development, where we will try to design the peptides for your work. And this drug discovery is actually based on a virtual high throughput screening. And there are some experts with us who work in the computation method to inhibit protein aggregation, as well as we also there have been some experts which work in developing artificial intelligence and machine learning models for detecting hit in the drug discovery. So if you are working in this domain and have some issues, and you want to outsource your research work, you could write us. You could write to us. And beside this, we also provide IT analytics, where we'll do the analysis for you. And there have been guys who are working in the metagenomics and metatranscriptomic field. So if you want to do the phylogenetic and taxonomic analysis, or you want to do the bacterial genome assembly annotations and comparative genome analysis, this service is also provided by us. In addition, we also provide the next generation sequencing NGS data analysis. That could be RNA-seq analysis, alternative splicing detection, biomarker discovery, variant calling, whole genome and exome sequencing, transcriptomic sequencing. I mean, all kind of next generation sequence analysis services also provided by us. If you have any issues, you could contact us. And we have launched our virtual cloud lab for high throughput data analysis. So we have a cloud-based server where all of these works have been done. So this is our infrastructure facilities, and we also do the epigenomic facilities where if you have issues in the whole genome bisulfite sequencing or MNA-seq or ATAC-seq, these services are also provided by us. So this is just a brief idea what kind of work or what kind of experts we have which works in these domains. So if someone has issues and if someone wants to collaborate or outsource their work, they can contact us. This is the poster which you have obviously seen before on either on some social site or through other network where we have talked about this data science and machine learning for bioinformatics. So this is just a brief idea what topics will be covered. So there have been some core modules where you will learn the core skills like Linux, which is the essential, or you could say the first step in the bioinformatics. So where you will learn the Linux basic and advanced command. Then the sessions will be followed by the R programming language. You need not to worry if you haven't done R previously. You need not to worry. You will learn from scratch the R. Then you will see how to data manipulate and visualize the data by the R. Then the second module will be of machine learning with R, where you will learn the different classification, regression, and other methods. Then the third module will be of next generation sequencing and data analysis, where you will have the glimpse of microbiome analysis and R-based, transcriptomic analysis, being at single cell or ATAC-seq. And these are the course faculty: Dr. Saurabh, who is a research associate at Cardiff University, UK; Surendra Vikram sir, who is the CEO of Bionomic Research Lab; Dr. Avinash, who has done his PhD from IIT Kanpur and is running a startup in New Delhi; and then it's me, and Siddhant, who is a graduate student at Wesleyan University, United States; and Dr. Veera Mohan Virappan, who is a postdoc at Sweden. So these are the instructor for this session. And as I said that you will receive the whatever material we'll share, you will receive that, and also the video recording, so that in future if you have any trouble, you could revisit those videos and try to recapture the things. This is the schedule for you to have that because this is a 1 month workshop, but there have been some gaps. So it's a total 20 sessions. So 10 days are actually off. So this is schedule for you to revisit and to think, just to remember the days when we have the lectures. Okay, so what we will deliver in this session are we promise you to deliver knowledgeable sessions. Like our sessions will be compact, interactive, and we will cover from basic to advanced bioinformatics. As I said that we believe in grow together policy. So our approach is actually global. So as you see that instructors are also from the different corner of the world as well as participants. I just forgot to put the graph where we used to show the participants are coming from which country. Due to time restriction, I have not included that. But in this conference also, participants are from the different corner of the world, and it's my advice that don't take this workshop only as a workshop you used to have in the past. Make it a platform where you try to collaborate, where you try to grow your network. So you all are free to communicate with each other and make a meaningful network. Besides this, what we expect from you, that you must be disciplined. There should be no motive to interrupt the instructor or to ask unnecessary things. It is possible that if you are not a beginner, if you are advanced learner, you must some sessions may be boring to you. Some sessions are, because we start from the scratch. So there may be some sessions or some part of the workshop where you think that it's an easy thing, but it's because we target the whole audience. So there may be some sessions for you to boring, but you have to have patience and be in discipline. And you must eager to learn the things. And in the each session, we have our question answer session where it's advisable that how many questions, whatever the query you have, just ask to us. We'll try to answer you. So this training would be helpful if you have your own research project. It will add dimensions to your research. And if you are coming from the biological field, it will expand your computational knowledge. And some guy may need to enter into the data science field, so that will help. This conference will help them to enter into the data science field, and it will help in the making a meaningful connections. And whatever the information will be provided to you, be absolutely sure that it's coming from the authentic source. And all the instructor is working in that particular domain for years. So all the information is coming from the authentic sources. Okay, now I'm just moving to the second part of my presentation. This was all about the institute. Now I'm coming to the second part where this is about the Linux environment. So before moving to the commands, you should know what is Linux. So this is just an index to tell you how we'll proceed. First, I'll talk about the operating system, then what is virtual machine, what is Linux. Then I will show you how to install those, how to install the Linux into your system. You may have the different system, but you don't have to worry. I will talk about each and every system, how to install that. Then most probably tomorrow, or if the time left today also, I can explain some basic commands and then scripts and few liner. And tomorrow's session will be purely demo and hands-on session. So what is operating system? So it is actually a software which communicates between the user and hardware. So in other words, if I say that the mediator between you and your laptop and your hardware is actually the operating system, and it allows the program to be run. So this is the main thing which allows the programs to run. So in a layman language, if I say that if your system doesn't have any operating system, it's a kind of a black box. It is of no use. So operating system is the main thing which communicate between you and your hardware. What are these are the some of the features of the operating system is that it's a task scheduling, it manage your memory, it communicate the network, and the most important thing is that your data and the user information is secure. This is the best thing, or this is the most important thing for an operating system. So operating system is a kind of, if we divide that all the users, so basically there have been three kind of operating system. One is Linux, then there is a Mac, which is an Apple proprietary, and then there is a Windows. So in the whole world, most of the users, it is around 83 to 85%. This data I have taken from some surveys, that 83% guys use the Windows as their operating system. It's a Microsoft proprietary, and you have to pay for that. They charge you for having Windows as your operating system. Then you all know about the Mac OS, which is an Apple proprietary, and 13% are the guys who use the Mac OS. Then comes the open source, and I'm always surprised why there have been very less users who use the Linux. Although I too have Windows 11 into my system, but I prefer to use the Linux. Okay, then Linux is totally free, but only 2% guys use it. And that means that if you have one system, and it doesn't mean that it will only have one operating system. You may have more than two, or you can have two or more than two operating system into your system. So the idea behind that is you have to implement a virtual machine within your system, and based on to that, you may have two or more operating systems into your system, into your laptop or your PC. So as from the Linux is not a new thing; it's coming from the 1990s, I guess, but it has been talked on from on different platforms within the last decade. So Windows is forced to provide you the options where you can install uh, uh, Linux into the Windows also. So this facility is given by Windows 10 and it's updated version. Previously, it was not available. So then coming to the what is a virtual machine. So it's a software implementation which execute programs like a physical machine. So that means if I say that your PC or your laptop is the physical host machine which you can touch, you can see, onto the same physical host machine you install another machine which is a guest machine and which is a virtual machine. You can't touch it, but that also that also execute the programs same as your host machine. So this is the thing. So that means now on your physical machine you have two machines. One is your host machine and another is a virtual guest machine. So both have both are the softwares which execute programs. So if you have a virtual machine into your host machine, that means your physical hardware resources is shared, but you have two different machines and they are isolated with each other, and different applications could be run onto that depending upon the user experience. And on a guest machine or on a guest machine, you may have different you may organize different users to run the operating system and applications. So virtual machine is a part of cloud computing. So this image may be much more explanatory whatever I have said in the last slide. So this is an example of a non-virtual machine where you could say that this is your hardware, and then there is a kernel and you have the process which run on this kernel. This is example of non-virtual machine. And then there comes the virtual machine, and this is the hardware where you run some virtual machine manager, and you may install different different guest machines like virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, and virtual machine 3, and each have their own kernels. By using these kernels you process your commands and you process your programs. You execute your programs using these things. So in the virtual machine, the hardware is shared by all these all these guest machines, but the hardware is same, and you may execute different programs, or the different users could be of different virtual machine. This is a part of cloud computing where in the supercomputing facilities they have the single hardware, but the virtual machine manager was there, and different VMs were installed. Some backups were also installed, and you may have more than one, sometimes 100 or more than that accounts onto that, and they are totally isolated from each other. There have been some hand raised. What is kernel? No, some query. Okay, so kernel is the thing which actually, I'll just come into this. So you will get to know about the kernel in the next few slides. So what is Linux? It's a family of open source Unix operating system which is based on the Linux kernel. It actually refers to Unix like graphical user interface based. It's a GUI based computer operating system which is based on the Unix like graphical user interface. It was developed by Linus Torvald and released on the 17th September 1991. As I said, that Linux is quite an old thing, but it has been talked within the last decade a lot from the different platforms, from the different munch. And Linus Torvald, when he invented it, he wanted to name it as a freaks, that is freak plus X. It's a question I guess we have came across in the GRF exam. So that's why I just have made this point. Freak X, which is an allusion to Unix, but his project partner convinced him to make it a different name. So they have agreed on the name Linux. So it's a typically packed Linux distribution. So whenever you will install the Linux, you will get all the Linux kernel as well as whatever supporting system and software and libraries are associated with this kernel that will be installed into it. So it's a complete package distribution. So there have been a lot of Linux distribution which is available like Debian, Fedora, Ubuntu. These are actually the free Linux distribution, but there have been some commercial distribution is also available from the last decade, like Red Hat Enterprise Linux, SUSE Linux Enterprises. These are the commercial distribution, but I prefer to use the freely available or the open source Linux distribution, and most probably Ubuntu. Most of the guys actually use the Ubuntu, so we also will proceed with Ubuntu. This is the architecture of a Linux. So you will have a hardware that's your main physical machine, you could say, whatever you see that consists of all the peripheral devices like RAM, CPU, motherboard, etc. Then there is a kernel, which is a core component of the operating system, which interact directly with the hardware. That means you have
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir, your voice is breaking in between. Could you please check?
Okay, sorry. So that means you have a hardware layer which consists of all the peripheral devices like RAM, CPU, etc. Then there is a kernel, which is a core component of our operating system, which interact directly with the kernel. And then there's a shell and then utilities. That means if you are sitting here and you execute or you run some commands, so this command is taken by the shell, and it interact with the hardware by the virtue of kernel. And then the command is executed actually on the hardware, depending on whatever hardware facility you have. The speed of the command is actually defined by that. So this is the basic architecture of a Linux machine. So the another question is why should we use the Linux? So as I said that it's a completely free, it's an open source thing. So you know that in Windows and in Windows based operating system, you need to install some virus because there have been issues with the virus. So you have to install some antiviruses. But in the Linux, it's completely free of virus. You don't need any extra layer of antivirus. It's supported by a big user community. So most of the developers, if they provide some package or other things, it is actually provided on the Linux first, and then there have been some commercial or free also available for the Windows and other thing. So it is supported by a big user community, and a huge list of libraries and codes are available in the open source. So if you are working in the biological domain, you will, or in IT domain also, you will get a huge list of libraries and codes are available for your work. And on the same machine allows a multiple, I mean, sometimes even 100 users are allowed to work on the same machine. So it is also extendable to build secure web servers. Another question is that I have talked about what is the Linux and other thing. So another question is that where you will practice the Linux command. So it depends on what system, on what operating system you are using. As I said that if I divide the users based on the operating system, they could be divided into 3 domains. One, they are using the Mac, then those guys who are actually having the Linux as operating system into their PCs, and third one, the most prominent, I could say within the numbers, the Windows users. Okay, so I will talk about them, how to go for each things. And another important thing I want to share, that what is a text editor. So it is an editor, you could say it's a simple program where you edit the plain text. So that's a text editor. So you must be aware of the Notepad, which is a property of Microsoft. So Notepad and text editor is actually the same thing. Okay, so in the Linux, there have been several text editor, but the Vim is the basic editor which comes with the Linux distribution. But if you want some updated version, or if you want some other resources, there have been several advanced editors like gedit and etc. So this is the text editor. So the bookish definition is that it provides within the operating system and software development package, where you are allowed to change files like their configuration, documentation file, and programming language source code. So this is the editor where you actually write the things, where you actually write your files and other things, wherein to Notepad. This is all about the presentation, and we'll move to the next part where I will give you the demo how to install the things. So just I just want to go through a chat box. If there is any question regarding that, I will try to answer it, then move to the further part. So it has been requested many times, please don't write this hi, hello. It interrupt actually. Hi guys, I'm unable to add Ubuntu file to my VM. Any guest suggestions, please? Okay, I'll come to this point. I believe you will find many solutions. What is kernel? Okay, so kernel, I said that it's a part of the operating system which interact with the hardware. So this is actually the second layer. The first layer, the core layer, is the hardware. Then there is a kernel thing which is not visible to you, but it is a part of the operating system which interact with the hardware. So every operating system has its own different kernel. Like Microsoft has its own different kernel, Linux has its own different kernel. So when you install any operating system, like you are installing the Linux, so all the packages actually comes with the kernel also, so because that is only going to interact with your hardware. So let's suppose that on your PC, if you are installing 2 or 3 kind of Linux distribution. Let's suppose I'm interested in installing the Ubuntu as well as Debian and Florida, or different version of Ubuntu. If I have 3 or 2 versions of the Ubuntu, that means each of my each of my guest machine, or if you could, each of my different operating system, like Ubuntu has its own kernel, Debian has its own kernel, Florida has its own kernel. So I will have 3 operating system as well as 3 kernel running onto one hardware. This is actually a kernel. So it's a part of the operating system only. You could say these are some of the softwares which actually interact with the hardware. This is the very basic definition. Can I use Mac OS? Yeah, definitely you could use Mac OS. Voices. What text editor we use for Mac OS? Okay, that term VI is provided into Mac OS. Will this PowerPoint presentation to given to us? Definitely. We choose text editor for W or Linux. Then what is this? We choose text editor for W or Linux when use Ubuntu in VM. I don't know what you want to say. Also need to install Linux in their system. No, is Ubuntu okay? Okay. Version of Linux. Let's do after this. Okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing my presentation, and if there is anyone who has a query whatsoever I have presented, if you have query regarding that, then only raise your hand, because there have been some questions which I'm going to talk in the next part of my session. So I'll answer that. Okay, Sakshi has raised arm, unmuting you, and you can ask your question. Yes, Sakshi. Okay, maybe she's not listening to. And Divya, you can ask the question. Divya S. Raj.
My question is, I have installed CentOS. Can I use that one?
What you have installed?
CentOS. CentOS.
Cent operating system. Okay, I have to check. I haven't heard about this. Sorry.
Yeah, because I have been doing all my drug discovery on this system. So can you please check and answer it?
It's a Linux based distribution. Yeah. Definitely you can use it. CentOS is also Linux based distribution. That's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Next is Amritindu Ganguly. You can ask your question.
Sir, I wrote it in the chat box that can you please explain the Linux architecture once more?
Okay, I'll go with that. That's fine. And then Afnan, please ask the question.
I was wondering how similar it is if I learn the R language, and how applicable that is to learning Python and other programming languages, or are they the same language, just a different, program to use?
Okay, that means if I this is a very general question. You want to say that if it's advisable to use R or Python. So although the logic behind every language is same, if you have used or if you have worked in any language, depending on it's a C, C++, R, Perl, Python, the logic is always the same, but there has been syntax different. If someone has learned any language previously, so the getting used to the second language is very easy for them. It's just a syntax difference. You already know the logic behind that, but it depends on whatever you are comfortable with to choose. Because if you are working in the biological domain, because they come up with automatically so many libraries and packages which is used to analyze your biological data. So R is very good for data visualization and other things. Python is also a very fast, so there have been pros and cons, which is a very a great discussion part. Some prefers to work in the R, some prefer to work on the Python. But I don't have any exact answer what language you should prefer, either R or Python. It's purely a person's choice, but most of the things are common. It's just a syntax difference. Okay, I think all those answer has been answered. Sakshi and Divya has raised their hands. So if they have the question, they can ask. Otherwise, they can.
Just to follow up quickly, for whole genome, for NGS analysis, which one would you recommend?
Okay, it depends on the package, what package you are using, because in the whole genome sequence also there have been several packages which has been developed into the R. So let's suppose that if your query, like I was working right now, I am working in the methylation sequencing thing, which is coming from the Infinium array. So there have been some packages which were developed in 2013-14. So for them, I initially took for the R, but there have been a very good package which has been installed, which has been developed last year in the July, but they have developed into Python. So I must have the knowledge of both. Because okay, initially I have done it on the R, but the package was developed. It was the old package developed in 2013 and 14. So okay, I was knowing the R, so I have installed that. But my answer was not solved by those packages. I have to see some other things. And there is only one package installed, which is actually regarding to my query. And that has been in the Python. So I have to go with the Python also. So you don't need to worry if you know one language. Just switching to the second language will take just 1 or 2 days to get accommodated into that. Okay. It's a hard question to answer directly one language. It's very hard thing to say. Okay, Ashish, I'll just take 2 more questions because we are running out of time. I have to demonstrate you how to install the thing. So I'll take 2 questions. Ashish, yeah.
Hi, good evening. So my question is is Ubuntu application comes with Windows App Store is sufficient?
Yeah. You are asking the question which I will for the next session. I just said that whatever query you have, what I have said into the presentation. Indrani, please ask.
Sir, what is the difference between Python, normal Python and BioPython?
Okay, this is not the topic for today's talk. Okay, you will get these questions later on because I'll take these questions. It will be a never-ending session.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so someone has asked me to ask who's that?
Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon.
Tinuke.
So, good afternoon. Please ask.
Sorry, I want to ask, what version of Linux do you recommend to us for the purpose of this workshop? What version of Linux do you recommend for us to install for this purpose of this workshop? Like, what version of Linux should we install?
What version of Linux? Always go with the latest version, whatever is available to you. Always go with the latest version because they debug the issues with the previous version. I prefer to go with the 20.04 is I guess the latest version. So just go with that. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, come again. Which is the latest version?
I think the latest one is 20.0.4 is the latest one. I believe that was the latest one, but
okay.
just check what is the latest one. Which?
Okay. Okay. Either Ubuntu or Fedora or which?
Okay, Fedora, Debian, Ubuntu, what you are saying. So mostly, most of the preferred or the simplest one is Ubuntu. So you may go with the Ubuntu. I prefer to work in the Ubuntu. It's totally the user's choice what they are. If you are comfortable in the Florida, you could go with it. They are almost same. They are almost 99% are same. I prefer to work in the Ubuntu. That's my personal choice. But if you have comfortable in some others, you may go with that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. I've used Ubuntu before, and I think I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, that's great. Now there is a request with Linux architecture slide. So I just go for a minute to, okay. This is the Linux architecture. Someone has asked me to repeat that. So, okay, this is the hardware, which is your physical machine, you could say. This is the hardware. And whenever you install a Linux package, it's a distribution, it comes with a package which has the applications, a shell, as well as a kernel distribution. When you install some Linux package, it may be Ubuntu or Debian or Florida, it comes with their own applications, their own shell, as well as kernel. And this has been installed onto your hardware. So whenever you will run your query, whenever you execute some programs, or you use some utilities like applications or other things, so the commands are taken by shell, and it has been forwarded to kernel, and kernel is a core component which interact with the hardware and execute your programs. So this is the basic architecture of a Linux machine. So this is almost the same for the Windows also. So this figure is also the same for the Windows also. And so, as I said, that there may be different users, which are running different applications or the programs. But if you have if you have 2 or 3 Linux operating system into that, each have its own different kernel and shell. Like I have explained, I think here, if you have 3 virtual machines, so each has its own kernel and processors. I hope it must be clear now. So my next question is that Divya is, I don't know whether she's there or not, but if she's there, please unraise your hand. My next query is that how many of you are using actually the Mac? If you are using the Mac, you just raise your hand. Those guys who are using Mac. Okay. A lot of guys are actually using the Mac. So you don't have to worry, because I believe that Mac guys are the most, having the best system they have. It is actually, it's not said, it is actually not the right thing to say, but I believe that Mac has both the property of Windows as well as Linux. It takes the best thing from the Windows also, it takes the best thing from the Linux also. You don't need to worry, you don't have to install any Ubuntu package or anything, because you have the terminal, you have Linux, core component of the Linux into your system. And if you want to run your bash script, or if you want to run your the Linux practice command, you just have to, in your search box, because I don't have the Mac, so I cannot share it with you. But you just have to, in your search options, you just have to type terminal, and a pop-up window will be open, a terminal will be open to you. So in your search, you just have to type terminal. There will be a terminal window will be open to you, where you could type and practice your commands. Okay, I guess anyone who is using the Mac can see that is the terminal is visible to them, and just a single person. Okay, so someone has raised the hand. Okay, that's fine. And now the next question is, who are the guys they were using the previous version of Windows? I mean, from previous version from Windows 10, older version from Windows 10, who are the guys who are using? If you are using Windows 10, you don't have to worry, but if you are using some older version, then only raise your hand. And if you are not sure how to know your Windows version, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. You just have to, you just have to press this Windows logo key and R. So you see that a pop-up is open to you when you press your Windows logo key and R. And you have to type here WinVer, WINVER, and you just have to press OK. So you will get to know what version you are actually using. So I'm using Windows 10 version 21 H2, which is built onto this machine. Okay, so this is how you will get to know which version you are actually using. Look, can I know how many of you are actually using the previous version of Windows 10? Okay, I guess all these guys who have raised their hand are actually using the previous version of Windows 10. It's Windows 7 or Windows XP kind of thing. I'm surprised. A lot of guys are using the previous version of Windows 10. Okay, let me interact with someone. Okay, let me interact with Mirza Beg, sir. Okay, Mirza Beg, sir, are you listening to me?
Yeah, I am listening. You are audible to me.
Yeah. So, what's your version? Could you please tell me?
I will perhaps. Just I'm just checking my version. Just tell me. Mm, 10, Windows 10.
Okay, that's fine. I think those who have raised the hand, they should check it again. It's very surprising for me that you are using the previous version. I always try to ask with the guys, and hardly 1 or 2 is using Windows 7 right now. So if you have confused, just press the Windows logo key and R. A pop-up will be open, and let me share again. Just press Windows key and R. This pop-up will be open. You have to type WinVer and then say the OK. So the version will be open like Windows 10 or whatsoever you are using, Windows XP or 7, it will be open. It's very surprising that a lot of guys are actually using previous version of Windows 10. Okay, let's go to you. So this next 4 to 5 minutes are for those guys if you are using Windows 7 or XP. Rest have to be patient with me just for a few minutes, because if initially I used to include that, but because right now a lot of guys are using the Windows 10, so that is useless for them, but you should know how to go for it. If you are having the previous version of Windows 10, like initially when I have started my PhD in 2014, then Windows 10 has not given the option to install Ubuntu into your operating system. So for that, you have to install some virtual machines. So there have been a lot of virtual machines. One of the example is VMware, where you have to install into that, and then on the VMware you install some Linux version. So this is a thing which actually we used to done in 2010, 11, 13 or at that time, because at that time Windows 10 has not given the option to run the simultaneously both the operating system. So you have to install the virtual machine. So if you are not having the Windows 10 or the previous version, if you have having, just go to
Dr. Salman, there is a gentle request. Please, if any, please share your any script or any whatever you type in the chat box. We will share the chat box with our participants, so they can practice themselves, and there will be no typo error.
Okay, that's great. Just give me a minute. I guess my screen is visible to you. So if you are having the previous version of that, then only do it. If you are having the updated version, need not to flood your system with unnecessary softwares. So you have to install this VirtualBox, the latest version in VirtualBox 6.1. Previously, I used to demonstrate it by installing and then showing, but it actually used to corrupt my memories, and a lot of space is actually utilizing. So right now, because I'm extensively using my system and a lot of program is running into the background. So I'm not going to install this virtual box because this is not useful for me. So you have to install this virtual box into your system, and once you will install the virtual box, okay, I have already uninstalled it from my system, so it cannot be seen, but I have a recording where I have done this. This is a recording I have done, and I will explain with you. So once you will install this VirtualBox 6.1, okay, you have to just download it. And depending on your system, let's suppose that if you are having the Mac and you want to just have for the fun, you want to explore it. So the different version of VirtualBox is available. So this is just a virtual machine. If you are having the Linux, and if you have some version of the Windows, and within the Linux you want an operating system for Windows, then also you could install the VirtualBox. If you are having Mac and you want to install a Windows version into your machine, then also you could install the VirtualBox. And if you are having Windows and you want to install the Linux, so then also you could do it. So that VirtualBox is actually will be a virtual machine onto your physical host machine, and into that you can install the different version. So from that you have to choose whatsoever your host machine is, whether it's a Windows, Linux distribution, or Mac OS. So once you will install it, it's a, I mean, if you are having the Apple and Windows 10, it's not need to be done. But if you want to just explore it, you could do it. It actually kills a lot of space and memory, so I'm not doing it again on my system. Previously I used to have, just to see how things goes on. Okay, once you will install it, you may have to restart it, and a box like this, virtual box like this, will be presented on your screen. Okay, now once you will open it, you have to install it, and then it may ask to start your system. You just have to press next and agree with everything. Okay, you can see there that this has been installed previously on my system like this, and when you will open it, okay, like this, it has been, this Ubuntu will be open up. Previously I used to have the Ubuntu onto my system also. So for the Ubuntu, if you are having this for the for Ubuntu, you have to install the someone has muted it, so please unmute that. Who's this guy?
Dr. Salman, please unmute yourself. I have muted all. Dr. Salman, please unmute yourself. Dr. Salman, please unmute yourself. I have muted all.
Okay. And once you have installed the VirtualBox, you have to go to the Ubuntu version, ubuntu.com, and from that you have to download the version for yourself. Okay. from where you could download the Ubuntu desktop. And when the ISO image will be installed, you have to place the path within the virtual machine, and in your virtual machine you will have the Ubuntu version. So this is the thing which is actually necessary if you are having the previous version. And if you have the latest version of Windows, you need not to worry. I just have explained it just to know that you should know how it works. And if you want to explore it, you could do it simultaneously with your system. But I'll not recommend you. I'll not recommend you to provide some space to you, because it will take 40% or 30% by default of your RAM as well as memory and other things. So you don't have to do it. But if you have Windows 7, you don't have any options. So then you have to do it. Okay. Now again, I'll take few questions because there have been so many hand raises. So I'll take few questions. Then I will come to the Windows 10, how they will have the Linux within the Windows 10, the next part of my talk. Okay. Priyanka just asked, I think, asked to unmute. Okay. Praveen sir, can I unmute them?
Yeah, so directly you just
Can I unmute them?
They can unmute themselves.
Okay.
I have given liberty.
I'll take the name of those guys, and if they have any query, what I have talked right now, if they have a query regarding to that, then only raise your hand.
So before taking these queries, let me, some general queries are that how much RAM is required for this Ubuntu installation?
Okay. So if you are installing the virtual box, then it actually takes, I think, 40% by default, and you can also decide how much space you want to give. Most probably, if you have a 8 GB RAM and if you decide to work majorly on the Linux, so most probably people used to give 50% or 40-60% on the virtual machine. That's why I said that if you have Windows 10, you don't have to worry of it.
Some are saying that they are using Windows 10 or Windows 11 or what to do.
Okay, so they are asking the further questions which I'll talk. They have to be patient. I already said they have to be patient for the next 15 to 20 minutes, because this is divided as depending on the users. So if they have Windows 7, this might past 10 minutes are useful for them only. Okay.
Sir, if we have, I have Windows 7 Ultimate, and after installing VirtualBox 6.1, I have to select the Linux distribution to.
Yes.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Anand Padmanabhan, if you have any query, please ask.
Please talk about Windows 11. Windows 11.
Yeah, I'll talk about Windows 10 and 11. Just give me 2 to 3 more minutes. I'll coming to that part only. I think Padmanabhan, nothing. Snehal, if you have any query.
Lalubo.
Snehal, if you have any query. Now, Muhammad Reza, if you have any query. Tinuku Olade, please unmute yourself. Please mute yourself. Muhammad Reza, if you have any query. I guess no. Mirza Beg, if you have any query. Okay, Mirza Beg, if you have any query. So those who don't have the query, they just have to unraise your hand, because I'm just getting confused. I'm asking of those. Yeah, Mirza Beg.
I is clear.
Pardon?
Mirza Beg, please unmute yourself again, please.
Okay. No, there is no query from my side.
Okay, I think there was a reason. Okay, now coming to the Windows 10. When I'm saying Windows 10 and update, Praveen sir, please mute them. I think some guys are talking to other family members and other things. Okay, so if you
Dr. Salman, wait. So if anybody unnecessarily unmute themselves, I will put them in the waiting room. So guys, you have to behave proper in a international bioinformatics workshop. Participant from around. So please. So those who will unmute themselves unnecessarily, I will put them in the waiting room or thrown out of this workshop. Please continue.
So now, when I'm saying that if you have Windows 10, so some guys are worried. Please talk about Windows 11. I mean, Windows 10 and the updated version is same. So having Ubuntu into your Windows simultaneously is given by Windows 10, and I guess it was in 2017, if I correctly remember. So if you have Windows 10 version, that's fine. If you have Windows 11, that's much better. I mean, that's a more advanced version. You don't have to worry. So now coming to the Windows 10 and later part, so Windows 11 is also included. So for those who have the advanced version, just do it with me. And I have shared my screen. Okay. So I believe that it's visible to you, and you just have to first there have been 3 steps to see whether you have Windows subsystem Linux or not. So what you have to do is first you will enable your machine, which we will enable your machine to have a simultaneous subsystem for the Linux. So now you will have 2 operating system. Sorry. One is your Windows 10 or 11, and then you have allotted some space for the subsystem Linux. This is the by default version given in the updated version. You have to enable it first, then you have to install WSL Linux machine, and that will run simultaneously. And regarding the space and other things, so Windows 10 and updated version has by default given a very limited space, and when you are using Ubuntu into your operating system, depending upon your task, whatever you are giving, it will utilize the space. And I mean, depending on the task, if you are using Linux so frequently, it will use most of your memory, but if you shut down it will take less of the memory. Same thing as you obviously work with other applications. Let's suppose that if you are running R into that, it will take, depending on the task. So by default, it's a by default thing. You don't have to allocate the space, and it will not interrupt your RAM or the space. So that's why I said this is the best thing. You don't have to worry of installing the virtual machine. So for this, just have to go to setting. Just do it with me. I'll be very slow to do the things. You have to open setting and then click actually in the background I am running some script, so that's why my system is very slow. You have to wait for a minute. Some scripts are running actually. And meanwhile it's opening, let me write in the chat box how to go with it. Open setting.
And also, Salman, I will recommend you to put your charge on.
Okay, that's it. And then you have to open the setting, and then you have to click on apps and features, which must be visible to you on the extreme left side. And people. And then on the extreme right side, you have to select programs and features. Programs and features. It's on the extreme right side. Okay, then when you will select onto that, you will again see on the extreme left side, you will see that there is an option of turn Windows on or off.
Sir, your screen is not visible.
Okay. No, it should be visible.
No, it's not visible.
Okay, again
It's not visible. I'm lost halfway.
Okay, let me share it again. This chat box is visible to you. Although I'm writing in the chat box, so you will get the message. Then you will have to click on the turn windows on or off, and it should be on. Then there will be option of Windows subsystem for Linux. You have to check it. You just have to.
I think we just can't see your settings. We can see your blank screen, but we can't see the settings part.
Yeah, the setting is actually not open. I said that I'm running a lot of scripts in the background from the past days. That's why I'm just sending everything in the chat box. So just be patient for a minute. Okay, so what you have to do, it is in your chat box.
Sir, if you have any video, can you show us?
Yeah, okay. As I said that once you will go on the setting options, okay, just click on your setting, then click on the app and feature, then click on program and features, and there will be option of turn Windows feature on or off. So when you will select it, a dialog box will be open. So my dialog box is actually opening right now. It will take time. And okay, and so you must be having these kind of a dialog box when you have gone through the steps what I have said. And here you have the option of Windows subsystem for Linux in the last. Okay. Yeah, Windows subsystem for Linux. You have to check it. If it's already checked into your system, don't uncheck it, please. If you have checked it already previously or by default, don't uncheck it. Otherwise, you have to restart your system. So if it's not checked for those guys, they have to check it. Okay. And another thing is, although it's not a essential step into that, but after each workshop, I used to have a lot of queries. And some guys have some different settings, so I advise them to also check the virtual machine platform as well as Hyper-V platform. There is another option of Hyper-V. So sorry, there is another option of Hyper-V like this. So I don't know which version actually they have to install, but some guys have to check it also Hyper-V, then it runs. But in my system, I just have to check the Windows subsystem for Linux, and it actually runs. So once you will check it, you have to press OK, and then you have to restart your system.
Salman, some participants are saying they are using Windows 11, so they are not getting these options, and many participants are supporting this.
Okay, so that means are they getting the turn Windows feature on or off option? Anyone who is okay? No. So okay, you don't have to worry.
So
this is by default.
Actually,
Windows 11.
I opened this turn Windows feature on or off, and then I clicked on this Linux option. I have to restart after this class bit over. So that's all.
So you are using Windows 11?
Yes, sir. Windows 11. I think 21H2.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so maybe from which options they have to do. So maybe the setting. So maybe the setting option is not working into them. So just on the search, just type turn Windows feature on and off, and you will get this dialog box.
Please. Sorry, please here. Please, can you repeat? Because can you repeat the steps in your disk?
Okay, you just you don't have to go with everything. Just type in your search box turn Windows on or off features. Okay.
Yeah.
Once you will type it, you will open it. This dialog box will be open to you. Okay, now you have to check this Windows subsystem for Linux. and then you have to if it was unchecked, then you have to check in and restart your system. If it's already checked, it's fine. I mean, you have to check it. Okay, then you have to restart system, and yeah, Hyper-V is not necessary. It's some Dhruv Sharma. You have said that Hyper-V is not necessary, but each time I used to have some queries, and I have done with the personally Zoom with them, and they were having some issues. So Hyper-V is necessary for them only. You don't need to worry about this. Okay. And I believe that if you have done it, you must have to install the system. So I am moving further.
Sir, if it's already if we are already in the Linux Windows system, it's on. We don't need to restart our system.
You don't need to restart it. Yeah. Actually, I'm giving each step because once I used to say directly from that you have to do it. A lot of guys used to ask queries. A lot of discussion used to go, and it make the presentation, it make the demo very disturbable. So that's why I'm giving with each step. If you have checked it, that's fine. If you have unchecked it, you have to check it. And then restart your system. Now just open your command prompt. So if you know how to open it, that's fine. If you don't know, just in the search box type command prompt, and command prompt version will be open.
Sir, please, we can open the command prompt without doing the steps that you said.
Okay, you can open it. If you have checked it, that's fine. If you have not checked it, once you will type the steps, you will get some error. So the previous step is necessary to avoid the error, but it's fine to get the error to learn the things. If you will get the error, you have to do the previous step again.
Because I can't find the what you say. I can't.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Just leave it. Open the command prompt.
Okay.
Now this is just to show you that as I have already been Ubuntu version. So this is I'm just showing you if you have already the version. Once I will type WSL-L-V.
What is that command for?
Okay, so this is just to demonstrate you. I'll type it again. I'll just type it again because I have already the WSL version and it has the version 2. So once I have typed it WSL-L-V. So let me write it down into chat box. WSL, it's L. Last time one guy was typing 1 and he has taken around half an hour of me saying that it's not working. So it's WSL-L-V. Okay, so once you will type it, you came to know that whether it's already been in your system or not. Okay, so like I have Ubuntu 20.04, it is stopped, it's version 2. Can you please maximize your window? Maximizing my window will not do anything. Maximize the font.
My system don't know this command.
I'm not getting what you are saying.
My system doesn't know this command. Sorry, because my system is in French, so I will try to translate the.
I mean, what system you are using? What operating system you have? Windows 10, Windows 11?
Yes, Windows 10. Yes, but in French, it's not in English, so.
Okay.
I don't.
French. I'm sorry, I don't know about the French or things, but this is the by default using English. I know. Sorry.
But my system doesn't know this command, these steps.
I'm sorry. I mean, you are having a very different issues. You maybe have in your settings. You are using the French language, other things. So the steps are same. The steps are same. You have to go with it.
Maybe because my system we haven't the Ubuntu. I haven't the Ubuntu on my in my PC in my laptop.
No, it has actually the by default updated version has. If you have updated in the previous 6 months, it must have by default. But if you don't have, I will show you how to do that.
Okay.
And if you are using, if you are getting some versions into that, that's fine. If you don't have any version, what you have to do is that you have to type WSL install, and it will automatically install. It will here I have to type the command. Once you will type it, it will automatically install the WSL Windows Subsystem library. Now what it mean that now your system is compatible for 2 machines. Okay, now it means that your system is compatible for both the machines. Okay, once you will install it, most probably 99% or 95% must have already have the WSL installation, so they don't have to do it if they have updated the version. If they have not updated the version, then only manually they have to install it. Now just go search into Microsoft App Store. So just go into Microsoft Store. This stuff may be boring to you, but because somehow by default it, and they are not knowing that they are actually having it. So I have given the each step from the scratch how to go with it. So if someone has not done it previously, or by default they don't have, how they have to proceed with each step. So maybe you if you have updated your system, WSL is already installed into it, and right now what you have to do, you just have to install a Ubuntu version. But there have been some issues like they don't have the Windows Subsystem library installed into their system, or if they are installing it, they get a different error, a huge errors into that. So these are the steps you have to. Then you have to backtrace the steps. So that's why I have given the step from one how to go with it. So that, right now, if you proceed like that, you will not face any error. Okay, once you will install this. When you open this Microsoft App Store, you have to search for the Ubuntu.
I'm not getting, because if the WSL commands is not working, we have to install the thing, right?
Yeah, you have to install the things.
Okay.
So if you have updated your system within the past 6 months, it has already been installed. But if you have not updated your version, you have to manually install it.
Okay.
So just install that system. Most of the guys, I say that 90 to 95% must have already installed into it, but there have been 5% queries after each session I used to get.
Okay.
Sir, I have just done the settings. Now my laptop want to reboot. Should I reboot after the session is over?
Yeah, you should reboot after the session over, because once you will install the Ubuntu again, it will ask to restart or reboot the things.
After restarting, what should I have to do?
Nothing. Once you will install the Ubuntu, you don't have to worry. The things will be open, and then you will practice the Linux command and how Ubuntu will work onto that. I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So this is just the pre-requirement how to set up your, how to set up your environment for Ubuntu and other things. So this is a crucial and sometimes very tedious and frustrating things. So once you will type Ubuntu, you will know that a lot of versions of Ubuntu, like Ubuntu, okay, and then there is other Kali version. For the Ubuntu also there have been Ubuntu 20.4, 18.04. So these apps are there. And if you type just the Linux, you will see that Kali distribution, and there is also there Linux. So it depends on you what you want to install. From the Windows App Store, you see that there have been the Kali Linux, and then Florida is also there, Debian is also there. So it depends on you what you want to install. I'll suggest you to go with the Ubuntu version, but if you have, if you want to explore some other things like Kali Linux or Florida, you could go with it. So I've already had the Ubuntu version. So once you will install it, you have to get it. Okay. So I have this 20.04. So whatsoever version you want to install, you just have to install it. So once you will install it, it may ask for restarting the system. And once you will restart the system and you type the Ubuntu, so this app, now it's working like an app into your system. Okay, now you could see that it is opening. So if you are doing it the first time, it will ask to set your username and password. Same as you buy your laptop and you open the Windows, it asks for setting your username and password. The same thing here, you have to put your username and password. So I will advise you to write down it safely at some places, because in future, if you are going to use it extensively, sometimes you are installing some packages which need sudo information or the administrative information. It may ask for the permission and you have to type your password. So because I have already done it, so it's not asking, but if you are doing it first time, it will ask to set your username and password. And once you will set it, it will be open like that. So here, in brief, whatever I say that there have been two crucial stuff. First, in a layman language, if I say I have my laptop and it has Windows operating system as a host machine, and then I have to install a virtual machine. But Windows 10 and the latest version has given by default option where you have to install the subsystem for Linux. So it is already installed. If you not have installed it, you have to manually install the Windows subsystem for Linux. So it automatically divide your system into two systems, or a subsystem is allocated within your systems. Within that subsystem, you have to install some Linux distribution. It may depend on your choice, whatever you want to do. Here we have installed the Ubuntu into that subsystem, and it is running actually as an app within the system. This is very easy and very up-to-date thing given by the Windows 10 and updated version. And this facility comes, I think, after 2017 only. Previously, it was not available. So once you will have this app, so you can run, I mean, you could use this Linux version like whatever you want to. So initially it may seems to you that it's not very useful, but once you will doing the bioinformatics frequently, you will know how to do it. Like if you have to install some packages and it's not available in the window, or if you are more preferred into the working onto that, you just by typing the commands, you will install some packages and you will run your big files and it will do the steps very fast. So these are the things we will discuss in tomorrow's session, because it's what I'm saying is the more advanced thing. So we will start from the basic, how to move, how to make directories, how to make working directory, how to copy the files, how to play with the files, and how to install some packages, how to install some softwares. These things we will talk tomorrow. You will see how you have to use that. Okay, this is all from my demo. Okay, Praveen sir, please mute everyone.
Please unmute yourself. Please unmute.
So this is all from my side. I hope everyone have done it, or it may require your system to reboot the things. So you have to reboot it. So whatever I have said, that it is once you will do it, you will never not face any problem or any error. But if you are facing any error, you could write to me directly, and I'll surely try to get back to you by mail or something. Okay. So each time I used to get some mails.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to ask you, is this only command line, and could we not see the UI in this method?
So this is in WSL, there have been two versions, WSL1 and WSL2. So if you have installed the WSL1, GUI is not visible to you. And in the GUI, because let's suppose that you want to see your Chrome. So you are not going to use Chrome into your Ubuntu. Obviously, you are not going to use it. You are going to use Chrome into your Windows in the Windows 10. So you could see your files. You could see your files if you have only the WSL2, Windows Subsystem Linux 2 version. So then you could see your files, but GUI is not needed into that. I mean, let's suppose that if you have installed some docking software into your Linux, then you could see it. But your Chrome is on your Windows, so you cannot see into the Ubuntu. So it has the GUI, but it is a partial GUI. If I correctly say, it's the partial GUI. And if you have WSL1, I'm sorry, it doesn't have the GUI. So it is actually upgrading with time. Initially, when we were using in the 17 and 18, so there was no GUI. So sometimes it was quite frustrating. And in the WSL2, most probably in 2020 or 21, they have given the partial GUI thing. So right now, when you will use it, it's fine. You will not need the GUI thing. And whatever GUI is needed, it is given. They have given that. So they are also advancing it with our requirement.
So will it work with the folders that are already in Windows? Or we have to create new folders?
No, it will work. You have to copy and paste. It depends on your smartness, how you do the things. Because when initially I was quite frustrating. It's not copying and pasting. So I have to copy all the file. But now there have been some options where you could copy that thing. It works with those files, but only if you have the WSL2. If you have WSL1, it's not going to work. So just check your WSL by WSL minus L minus V. If it's the 1, just type your command with setting the WSL with 2. So I'll tell the commands tomorrow how to do that. I just don't remember it right now.
Hello. Yeah, Salman, I am using Ubuntu. Is it necessary to update anything in Ubuntu?
No, it's not necessary. So you are using Ubuntu into Windows 10, or you are using a Linux version only? Linux.
I am using as dual OS.
So that's fine, sir. That's fine. Actually, that's fine if you have the dual. These are the question, very tricky question. Let's suppose that you have already dual booted your system. You don't have to worry. But you are a very new user. I'll suggest you to go with Windows Subsystem Linux. Don't make your hard drive, differentiated into 2 parts. But if you have already done that in the dual system, that's fine. That will work very much better with much efficiency.
The commands and all what we are going to use in future, that will affect
that will work on the, that will definitely work on the dual boot. But the problem will be, there have been pros and cons of everything. Like suppose that if I'm working simultaneously, I'm working on Ubuntu as well as Windows, I can work simultaneously on both the things. But if you have dual boot, you are working on the Linux and you need to switch on the Windows, you have to shut down, you have to open your laptop and do the thing again. But so this is a cons of what you have, but the pros of what we will have is that we can work simultaneously on both the operating system. So, but if you have the dual boot system, you don't have to do that because you have already allocated the space to your hard disk.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, I have a related question. So I also have a dual boot system, but right now on my Windows, I also started following this the steps that you said right now about the setting up the Linux thing, and then so I had done until there, and I have not restarted my laptop yet. But so now the full situation would be that my hard drive is already partitioned between 2. Windows and Ubuntu, and on top of that, on the Windows, I again enabled another Ubuntu. I got it. I got a question. So when you in your Windows system, you have enabled the Ubuntu, but it will not interrupt. It will not take space from your hard disk. It's just a normal app running with very few KBs. If I see the app version, it's running very few KB. So once you are using that app, depending on what file you are having, that based on that, it will try to take the space and other things. So you have done it, it's fine. Just work with both the things, and within 6 months or 7 months, you will see that you don't have to, you will feel comfortable in working into that instead of rebooting the system and opening and shutting those things. Agreed. So it's fine. It will just take few KBs of your space, not more than that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, so there have been a lot of hands which have been raised, like Snehal, if you have any query, please unmute yourself and ask. I think she has raised the hand from the very beginning. Okay, that's fine. Naveen Srinivas, please ask your question if you have any.
Hi, Salman sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. So I followed all the steps you've given. So when I run the WSL install, I am getting a message saying that the requested operation requires elevation.
What requires?
The requested operation requires elevation.
Okay.
That is the message I'm getting in the after I run the WSL install.
So you have installed the Ubuntu and is it running or not?
No, I'm on Windows 10, so I did the settings part.
Your voice is interrupted. I'm not listening to you.
Sorry, am I audible?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. So I followed the steps for Windows 10, and I've clicked in, checked in for Windows Subsystem Linux, and I still have to restart the system. But after that, you told me to run the WSL on command prompt. So after that, I get this message saying that the requested operation requires elevation. I'm not sure what to do.
Okay, so when you have checked it, you must have not rebooted your system, or you must not have restarted your system. So you have to once you will check it, you have to restart your system. Then only you can do that. Yeah.
All right.
So restarting after checking that is the essential critical. Yeah. Okay, Priya Srivastava, please ask question.
So I'm using Windows 11 and currently I've also installed Ubuntu app from the Windows store. So will it work perfectly?
Yeah,
or
it must have been working. It must have been working. You just open the app and it's working. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so I can run all the commands in the future using that.
You can run all the commands. Yeah. Dr. Divya Singhal.
Okay,
so
thanks.
there is a question with Yadva and Chavla. Does anything needs to be done on the Mac system? I already said in the starting of that, Mac guys will find it very boring thing because they already have everything. They need not to worry of the things. So that this part of the workshop will be boring to them. You have everything, you need not to worry, but having the information, maybe it's beneficial for you. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, Dr. Divya ask.
When I'm running WSL command, it gives message like man shell command line version 0.2.1. So it is one version or two version. It is showing 0.2.1. I have installed 20.4 in Windows 10.
Windows 20, ma'am. Once you have done it, it's saying 0. What it should be visible like this. Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay, let me show you.
Because when you run the command, your screen was different. My screen is totally different.
So I mean, you are getting like Ubuntu 20.4 and version 2 like this or not?
No.
You have installed the WSL?
Yes.
Okay, you have installed the Ubuntu into that?
Sir, I have taken the Ubuntu from the Microsoft Store.
Okay, you have installed from the Microsoft Store. So there must be version, which version of WSL is used by this Ubuntu? So there should be like version 1 or version 2 here.
So message is completely different and it is showing.
I just put a screenshot and write it to me. I will see what's your issue. I'll get back to you. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Afnan and Neelam, if you have any query, Afnan, if you have any query, ask.
Okay, so since we downloaded the Ubuntu
Dr.
from the Microsoft Store,
Neelam, please, Afnan is asking, so I'll come to you later. Afnan, yeah, please.
Which one are we going to be using? Are we going to be using the command prompt or Ubuntu?
You are definitely going to use command prompt. That's the best thing. I mean, if you want to be a good bioinformatician, try to avoid GUI as much as you can. Okay, Neelam, please ask.
Neelam, please ask your question. This will be the last question. And if any further question, you can write to Dr. Salman. We have shared the... Dr. Salman, please share your email.
Yeah, Dr. Salman.
Yeah.
It seems that my WSL command is not taken properly by the system because I don't know, the message which I am getting is WSL1 is not recognized as an internal external command operable program and batch file. And plus when I am installing Ubuntu, some error is coming. WSL register distribution failed with error number, something like that.
So you must have to go in your turn Windows feature on or off. Just turn Windows Subsystem for Linux, turn Windows Hyper-V platform, and there is another, just a minute. just have to check 3 things. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
Can you please repeat all the 3?
I just third name I'm just forgetting to, so just checking it. Just give me a minute. Okay, so you have to check Hyper-V, and then second one is virtual machine platform, and third one is Windows subsystem for Linux. Just check check these 3 things. Restart your system, then try to install the WSL again with the command prompt, and then there should be no issue. And if again there is any issue coming, but follow these steps in the manner I am saying. And if again there is some issues, just write to me. I will see what's your personal issue.
Yeah, actually I'm using Windows 11, so
that's fine. That's fine. Windows 11 is fine.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Naveen Srinivas, please ask if you have any query. That's the last question I'll take. It's already 100 minutes. I think Naveen has
already you already.
Okay, that's fine. So if I'll just give a minute, Praveen sir, with your permission, if there is any.
Sir, can you please share your mail ID?
Yeah, I have already shared into the chat box. I'll write again. And you will get the material within 30 minutes, I guess. It's depend on the organizer how fast they will mail you. Just and you'll get the presentation what I have. So you have my WhatsApp number as well as mail ID. But I have a lot of things to do today. But I'll try to answer as much as I can. But surely every solution, every mail I'll reply by tomorrow evening. That's I guarantee you. Okay, if there is any questions, I'll take from the chat box, and if there is no question, that's fine.
Okay. So people are thanking you, Dr. Salman.
They are just thanking me. Yeah, sir. Will USB pen drive be recognized in WSL? Why you will install the USB pen drive? Okay, just install the Microsoft App Store. That's fine. No WSL was showing version 1. How to change this to version 2? Okay. By default, you have to just update your WSL, and it will change from the. And then there is a command WSL-V. It will be converted. I'll write it tomorrow. The R software you can directly run in Windows. Please advise why installing Ubuntu is necessary. Okay, that's a very good question. Abbas has said that R Studio software can be directly run in Windows. Why Ubuntu is necessary? That's fine. You are using R Studio. That means you are a very beginner in bioinformatics or in the programming. That's why you are using an IDE. Let's suppose that you are a advanced user or advanced developer. So you have used the IDE and you have made all those, you have done your script, you have done the work, and you want to package or you want to bundle all the necessities what you have done. That you can't do with the R Studio. Then you have to use the terminal or the notepad or other things to bundle your packages. So that in that cases Ubuntu is good. And another thing is that if you, let's suppose that I am using a CHAMP software to analyze my DNA methylation work. So CHAMP is a by default version which doesn't run on the R, so you have to run on the Ubuntu. So it depends on your requirement what you are actually doing. If you are just going to use R with very frequent things, but very not the biggest task, just simpler tasks, that's fine. But if you are going to work with the bigger files, if you are going to do the methylation sequencing NGS with several GBs, with 100 GBs of data, so you can't do it into the IDE environment. So in that cases, you will need it. So it depends on your requirement, what you are going to do. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's over from my side.
So thanks, Salman, for today's comprehensive session on introduction to Linux and